Welcome to Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. I am Laurel Boivin. Whether you're joining me for the first time or you've been walking this path with me for a while, I want you to know this podcast is for you and your self-discovery. Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life is a safe space for all the inner work that we do, for all that we are beneath the surface, so we can fully live and freely live as who we really are, in our full authenticity, in our full self-knowing. So today, here we are together again, and I want to talk about something that we all face: loss. The loss that might unravel our sense of identity, our sense of safety, or the direction of our life. These bumps along the way are loss, each and every one of them in their own way. The types of loss that don't always get ritual or recognition, but they stay with us and live in our bodies and hearts just the same. This episode is called Loss as an Invitation, because over time, I've come to know that every loss, no matter how painful, holds an invitation, an opening, a moment of clarity, and a new path emerges if we're willing to pause and listen. Before we explore this topic fully, more deeply, I want to take a moment and introduce myself and my podcast partner and co-host. Again, I'm Laurel Boivin. I'm a life and leadership coach, a speaker, and a podcaster. You can find more information about me and the work that I do as a coach in the show notes below. My co-host and dear friend, Laurel Holland, is also a life coach, and she's an author. You'll find information about her work and her books in the show notes. Our contact information is there for you. Reach out to us anytime you have a question, anytime you want to dive in a little deeper to the conversation, and anytime you need support on your journey. We are here for you. So let's dig into this topic: loss as an invitation. Have you ever experienced a loss that actually opened doors for you? Maybe a loss that changed your perspective, your plans, or the direction of your life? I have. I want to acknowledge that all loss, every single loss we experience, changes us at some level. Some losses make us feel like we have changed everything or lost everything. I've had several of those losses, big losses like that. My mother's death when I was 33. My dad's death, I was much older, but losing a parent is never easy. My divorce, and more recently, the end of my corporate career, 5 years earlier than I had planned. That loss cracked me wide open. It was big. It changed the course of my life, and it changed me. At the time, it felt like the life and career I had built was suddenly gone. I lost more than my title, my role, my salary. I really lost my sense of purpose. I lost belonging, that feeling of being part of a team. I lost my identity, the version of myself who had climbed the corporate ladder and contributed and achieved in the workplace. And honestly, I lost my self-confidence too. All of those things I lost when my corporate career ended, those were losses. And it took time to overcome those losses and to grieve. And I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't know how to do it. I really didn't know anybody else who had experienced what I was going through. I really didn't know what to do next or what the future would hold for me. There was so much uncertainty and it felt unsafe. And like many of us do, I took the safe route. I took a job at a law firm because I was qualified, because I could. I had worked at a law firm before. It was familiar to me, but I knew deep down inside it wasn't the right thing for me. I was showing up in that office, but I wasn't lit up. I wasn't excited about who I was and what I was doing, how I was contributing. There was no real purpose or belonging for me there. It was safe, but it wasn't aligned. It was familiar, but it was not fulfilling. And in that in-between space between what I had left and what I hadn't yet started, I began to feel a quiet invitation rise up in me. I knew there was more. I knew I was meant for more. And this invitation was quiet, boy. It wasn't loud. It didn't shout. It whispered. I could barely hear it at times. Why? Because fear and uncertainty were so much louder. And I kept myself so busy so that I didn't hear the whisper, so that I barely heard the fear. But that whisper, it continued. It asked, what if this is the moment you stop playing small? What if this is when you stop playing safe? And it continued to whisper, what if this is the moment you start living the life you were made for? And that whisper grew louder and louder and became a call. That was the invitation for me to step boldly into uncertainty, to start moving forward in the direction of the unknown, to trust that there was something waiting for me on the other side of this fear and loss, something more meaningful, something more fulfilling, something that would allow me to contribute to the world bigger than I had before. And so I stepped forward. I started my own business. I began coaching with no safety net, just a desire to serve, to coach, to help other people, to help them find clarity and fulfillment through their own seasons of loss and change. No different than I had to help myself finding clarity and fulfillment. You're probably wondering, was it scary? Hell yes, it was scary. Was I uncertain? Absolutely uncertain. Was it worth it? It was so worth it. Every step of the way, every step forward was worth it. Because in saying yes to this invitation, this opening that was whispering, I said yes to myself. I said yes to my own beautiful life. And that's what I want for you. So let me ask you, what loss are you carrying right now? Maybe it's the loss of a job or a dream or a relationship. Maybe it's a relationship that has changed. Maybe your job has changed. Maybe this is just a slow, quiet opening and unraveling of a life that no longer fits you. And if that's where you are, if the life that you've been living no longer fits you, I want you to know you are not alone. You are not alone. This might be your invitation to pause, to feel, to reimagine, to reconnect with who you truly are, and to choose again, to move forward despite your fear, to let go of your need for certainty, to find safety in yourself. This might be an invitation to come home to yourself. You know, loss opens space for us. It opens space in us. It clears the way for what we cannot see, or sometimes what we don't even understand. It asks us to listen, to soften, to surrender what was, and to become available to what could be, to really start to imagine the possibility of the future, despite the uncertainty. And it's so tempting, so very tempting to rush through the discomfort of loss. But I invite you to linger there, linger in the loss, just for a little while longer, and ask yourself, what is this loss inviting me to notice? What is this loss asking me to release? What new possibility might be waiting just beyond this point of grief and loss? Now, you don't need to have all the answers today. You just need to be willing to ask the questions and then to listen. Listen to your heart. Listen to your intuition. The answers will come in the quiet. And then as this loss, this ache starts to soften, you'll know more. You will have the insight and wisdom that you need to move forward. And it's in that lightness of wisdom, that knowingness of wisdom, that you will find courage to take one small step forward and then the next small step forward. So if you're in this space right now, here are a few tools, some gentle reminders that can help you navigate loss. Journaling. Now, you've heard me talk about journaling. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know I am a journaler. And I have to tell you, writing your thoughts and emotions Writing your heart's desires, writing your fears is so helpful. There's another form of journaling that I've done myself and sometimes I assign to clients, and I call that rage writing. Just write, get all of the emotion out onto the page. And if you need to destroy your writing, go right ahead, burn it in a fire, soak it in water and let it dissolve. In fact, there is dissolvable paper for those of you who don't want your written word to be found by anyone. The second tool I want to share with you is breath work. We have an ability to calm our nervous system and reconnect with our bodies through our breath. So if you're not familiar with breath work, let me know. I can introduce you to some breath work practitioners, instructors. You can also find breath work on YouTube, where we learn new things all the time. The third I want to share with you is spending time in nature, because sometimes the answers come to us when we stop searching. And so just by being in nature, being surrounded by the natural environment, by the natural world, we can have insight and clarity that we won't get while we're surrounded by maybe our work setting or our family or our living room or the television. So get out into nature. And the fourth one, time in or near the water, because water reminds us how to float and flow, right? We become light and buoyant in the water, almost weightless. So spend time listening to water, soaking in water, swimming in water, being with water. The next one is Reiki yoga or quiet mindfulness practices. How can you be in your body and notice, be mindful? And the last one I want to share with you is finding support, creating a support circle, creating a team of supporters to help you through loss. This might be a therapist, a counselor, a trusted friend, a minister, a spiritual guide, or a coach. And think about the community. It could be a healing community, a Reiki community, a yoga community, a meditation community, a church community to be part of. Those are the tools I have for you that could help you navigate change, loss, and uncertainty. And open the door. Step in to the invitation that loss is. Remember, you don't have to do it all at once, but you can just start with one tool at a time. Maybe it's one breath at a time, one choice at a time. Take time to get honest with yourself about what loss is teaching you, what loss has taught you, what it's time to let go of, and how to steady yourself moving forward. Because loss is not the end of your story. Loss is not the end of my story. It's just a turning point, a sacred threshold to something new. And while you might not have chosen loss, while it might have shown up unexpectedly, uninvited in your life, it is an invitation. It's an invitation to live differently, to love and connect deeper, to trust your inner voice, to step into your next beautiful chapter with courage. Loss really does help us in our becoming. It helps us to become the next version of ourselves by pausing, reflecting, learning, and growing through loss. So here's what I want to invite you to do. Take 5 minutes today, just 5 minutes, and ask yourself, what is this season that I am living, this season of loss, asking me to do? What am I being asked to let go of? What is this loss making space for? And let it speak. Let your loss speak. You are doing your beautiful work, even when it doesn't feel like it. By living and growing through loss as an invitation, you are doing your beautiful work. And I'm right here doing it with you. If you need support, guidance, or help as you step into the next season of your story, I'm here for you. You can reach out to me anytime. So thank you for being with me today. Your presence here with me means the world to me. And until next time, trust the invitation, trust the loss in your life, and keep becoming who you are meant to be.